having coffee grinds in your cup of coffee.
Connections? Going somewhere? There's connection. All right. That's good.
I'm not in the screen. I gotta move over.
You gotta be in the screen.
Yeah. Scoot. Being taken over. We're live.
Joseph!
Hello.
What's up, buddy? How we doing? Joe, could you share this, please? That'd be awesome, buddy. I know. I figured let's put it out there.
I'm waiting for it to say,
Get it out
Bloodline is
there,
live
brother.
now. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna share.
Can you hear? You know, good there? Make sure we can hear.
We're sharing it to our pages too.
Yo, buddy. What's up?
You know you missed us.
Let's make sure. Get her out there. We got a couple of them. Is it showing? Yeah.
Alrighty.
Here we go.
Look, it says I'm watching.
Yay. Maybe just share off of my post. Share.
I wrote that in the wrong place. Oops.
Where were your thoughts?
Yeah, I wrote to us.
You wrote to us? That's good. Danglefest? Oh, it's going awesome. How do you think it's going? What do you mean, how's Danglefest going? How do you think it's going? How you liking it so far, buddy? Here we go. How you liking it, brother? Let's see, we got a couple guys on real quick.
We're just literally sharing this to our page because if
I know.
we don't, then Facebook world will not show this to anybody.
Right.
So
It's actually out there and going, you know.
we're just telling you why we're both looking at it sometimes. Great television.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you share yours?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's up and out.
Got that done.
Joe, what do you think, buddy, so far? What's Joey thinking?
Dangle Fest week.
Oh, yeah. That's been going fun so far. Any feedback, brother? What are you thinking so far? Anything?
I think it's going great.
I think I'm loving it. Loving it. Working at it as lacrosse. I missed last night. No worries. That's why it's on the recording. Awesome. Love it. Yeah, no, personally, obviously, yeah, loving it. It was cool that we've been trying to figure out, we're always pushing the envelope, trying to figure out what's new ways that we can create value and get information out there right now, guys. And one of the things we're doing is Danglefest. So we're helping players, right, to understand from a stick handling perspective, what are the things that we utilize a system called the Matrix that basically I've seen it transform. It's amazing the transformation it's created in some players just by following this system to the T, simplicity plus consistency. It's unbelievable. So this week we've been sharing that out with our danglers and getting it out there and putting it, Roger, what's up, buddy? So it's been a lot of fun to get it out there and show people on top of it, guys. Like the biggest misconception people have is, well, how can you train online? And that's what I'm loving with it.
This
I know.
is the worst
Big
cup of
lines.
coffee I've ever had in my life. And I made it. It's like all grinds. Okay, sorry. That was like...
Richard, what's up, buddy? How you doing, guys? How you doing?
I need to...
Guys, if you could end up also sharing it, that'd be awesome. The more we obviously get this out, easier it's going to be.
There's a little button at the bottom. Just hit share.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Share our broadcast.
Feedback and communication. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I see the players talking to one another. It's been a really fun week so far with Danglefest. And
we're learning a lot.
We're learning a lot. They're learning a lot. And we were just trying to find a way to... So it seems that Facebook land, right, is all of us grown folks. And a lot of times we want to find ways to really communicate with the kids and show that you can have a connection online. You can learn something new that actually for your hockey game online.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I think people are learning a ton, and the feedback that I'm getting is fantastic. And it's just a lot of fun. We got a good group that really, and of course there's prizes. So those were
that makes it.
out.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone gets all competitive, but feedback's the players have been participating, which is huge. Again, Joe, right? You feel like the communication's been pretty clear. That's the idea behind it, is to show people that, hey, listen, we don't have to just be in a rink to go and teach people, right? The idea is that if we can influence players to understand some high percentage plays, some things that matter most, it's going to make your development, your experience, your confidence, everything change. And that's the biggest idea behind it, right? Is that's what we love about it. Coach Dan, what's up? One of my favorites out there. Beauty, buddy, beauty. Coach Dan, could you please share? Get it out there.
You're just calling them out.
I am today. I'm on it. Putting it out there. But it's cool because we live in a totally different time. Yo, buddy, Ashley, what's up? The idea behind you guys is this, right? Is like we made a commitment to it, right? We said we made an intention. We want to help players all over the world, right? And being in one rink, you can't do that, right? The message is out there. There's a lot of players that are struggling to figure things out simply, right? How to find their confidence, all these different things.
Right.
And we've been fortunate to come across some stuff here over the last several years that is just no magic formula, simple stuff, but it's amazing how it just changes the mindset completely. When you start to get into these habits that we're going to talk about today, it's amazing how quickly your mindset shifts almost instantaneously with some of them when you start to own your own game, right? When you start to own the process and understand that at the end of the day, it's not on your coach, it's not on your parents, it's not on anybody else, it's on yourself. And that's the number one reason why jumping into this, into this basically communication medium, was just get it out there and just say, own it. Own the process yourself. You don't need, it's great to have coaches and influencers. It's great to have that energy. Of course, it's important. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be what you look at on the outside. And that's what we find with a lot of players is, I need an agent. I need a connection. I need somebody else. I need. No. What do you personally know you need to do versus what you think you have to do? And that's at the end of the day what inspires us and inspires me to get going with all this stuff. And why I'm excited to share the 5 habits today with you lovely folks. Mark, what's up, buddy? How we doing? And what's he saying? John, pressure win is counterproductive to development, and while there's prizes, they appear to help each other. Exactly, right? Yeah. The idea is rewards, right? And the prizes are there because at the end of the day, you need to reward yourself. Like what was interesting was the other day, talking to one of my players, and Dad didn't like the idea of rewarding yourself for what you had done. Turns around and goes, no, you know what? You should do it because you want to do it. No, guys. We talk about it all the time. We create strategies all the time of like, hey, if we hit this goal and we get this done, you know what? We're going to go on vacation. We're going to go do this. If we hit this goal and we get this done, we're going to go out for a night and reward ourselves for going here, right? It gives you something to work towards. Rewards are not bad. They're just not bad. Like it just gives you something of like, you know what? As long as you are in control of the reward yourself and you know that it's something for you, it's not a bad thing.
Well, I would say flip that too. Like think about that for you in your work situation. Like especially if you're working for a company, right? And you're giving. How happy are you when they give a bonus? Or how happy are you when they have a contest for something? I mean, it feels pretty good. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely.
No, not at all. Mary Rose, hello. Beauty. All right, cool. So moving into it.
Yeah.
The 5 habits to own my game. All right, we need to start getting also some of the B and C do all the.
Yeah, well, there's ways to go with that.
I don't know that, but just some craziness going on over here.
Yes.
So, 5
I can
habits.
act it out right now.
Yeah, exactly. So, guys, this spawned from the last, I've been coaching over 20 years professionally. I've been at it going into year 14, I believe now. So, been at it for quite some time, right? And now, ever since starting Bloodline and getting into this realm and really focusing on the mindset of players, right? We just over the last, basically year and a half, 2 years, really refined the message. And this is basically what came out is if there was the high percentage plays that we talk about, Tony, what's up? Good seeing you. If there's the high percentage plays that we talk about, right? What's the most important habits that we've seen to bring together for players that can transform their game? These are the 5 that I've seen the most, that you've gotten the most bang for your buck. And it's amazing how much it literally changes your perspective in an instant with it. Takes time, takes a lot of work, but these are the 5 habits that I've found that work the most. Last week we talked about, talking about the 5 non-negotiables. If you want to be high level at anything, successful at anything you want to do, right? This now gets into the nitty gritty of how I own my game, own my process, and really figure out, all right, if I really want to get better and I don't want to rely on somebody else, how do I rely on myself?
And I just want to throw it out there too. This is not just hockey. This is this is
anything,
across the board.
Anything.
So I just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, exactly. I love my best dad ever.
Oh, well, the gift that keeps.
You know how I'm the best dad ever?
How are you the best dad ever?
Because you said so.
Oh.
That's it. That's all that matters. There's nothing really happening. How can I be the best dad?
I mean, you're not
else?
my dad.
I'm not
really,
anybody else's dad.
According to Naomi and Ash, not even me.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever. Yeah, I hope not everyone else's daddy out there, but
you and me both. Okay, we're just gonna leave. We're just gonna skim over that.
We'll get into it. Ashley, reward for hard work and achievement is different than everyone gets a trophy. Amen, amen, amen. Right? Exactly. The Coach Carl, what's up, what's up? Everyone gets a trophy part. That's just not realistic. Let's just be real. It was for a hot minute. Everybody thought it was a cool idea, and I think everyone's realizing quick, whoa, that's not a cool idea. No. There is no such thing as everybody's a winner. Yeah. Let's be realistic in competition, everyone's a winner in context of what? But if you're in a competition, you're playing for something. In competition, everyone doesn't win.
I agree. Because I was going to say, they gave Naomi a trophy for her mommy and me dance at the end of last year. It was like her prized possession. But there was no competition.
How old is she?
She was 3. Now she's
Exactly. She wasn't 15, 16,
But now
17.
it's so funny though when you think about it, because now like you tell her there's a trophy involved and like watch out. There is no stopping her.
Oh man.
She loves those trophies.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Can't help it.
So jumping right on in, guys, the 5 habits, right? Habit number 1, become self-aware. Become self-aware. We've talked about this many times about how what's always fascinating is the misconception of what people think self-awareness is, right? They think it's this, right, sitting on the mountain and going nuts and all this stuff. Yeah, careful, right? And they don't realize that we've all already been practicing self-awareness all along. Self-awareness, right, in terms of what your boss, what your coach has been telling you what to do, right?
There's legit
what your
a
wife.
helicopter above our house. I just saw it go like right there.
I told him to wait till noon.
We don't have like an air path here. I literally look out and the helicopter was like right there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what's going on.
Sorry, you were in a good
Anyway,
that was hard to ignore. Like,
become self-aware. Rule number 1, you got to know you, right? What we find is a lot of times, again, and we've talked about this many times, of where, what are you designed to do, right? Are you a truck or are you a Porsche? If you're not aware of what that truly is, that's where so many players get hiccuped is. It's a difference between, am I doing what I think I'm supposed to do? Well, I think I'm supposed to work on this habit or this shot or this stick handling move, or I think I'm supposed to do this stuff. Or, no, I know I'm supposed to do this because based off of what I've seen in my own game and I see the things I'm supposed to do, I'm aware that, no, I do this a lot in the game. So you know what? It's something that I need to put a lot of time into. So becoming self-aware is the first step to understanding what do you know about yourself? What are you designed to do? What are you really good at? All these different things, right? That's the part that's the data that you get back with it.
But I want to say it's not about us telling our kids what they are.
Exactly.
It's about helping them figure it out for themselves. So if it's filming their game so they can watch it and asking them questions, but it's not about saying, you do that all the time.
Exactly.
Because it's really, I think we know, like when we tell them, it's one thing, like when you say, like, stop beating up on your brother.
Yeah.
And they're like, I wasn't beating up on my brother. And it's like, but you know better. And they do know it.
Exactly.
But it's about them figuring it out for themselves.
They have to come up with it. It's like a buried treasure. No, it's a great analogy. It's like a buried treasure, right?
My coffee's all messed up.
I've got to, exactly, right? It comes to me and it hits me, right? Where, as an example, we're doing our Dangle Fest right now. We're going through that, right? So one of the things we're doing is we're having the players put in their video and then, okay, they're getting some feedback. What we're pushing on with the feedback is, as they're in there, we've already talked about certain habits that you have to pay attention to, right? One of the things is keeping your head up, getting your elbow out, doing the stick handling. We talked about this stuff, right? So as we're putting up the video, one of the students right now has already asked a couple times, right, well, what habit are you talking about? And I keep pushing back and I go, what habit do you see? What do you see? I'm not going to answer that question for you because I want the aha moment to happen from the player, right? It's so simple. And I don't care if they grind it out and they have to, it's going to be difficult maybe for a couple of days. Maybe it's like, man, what's he talking about? What's he talking about? The moment figures it out now, oh, I get it. It is way more powerful than me turning around and saying, hey, it's this. Right. And I'm still not going to say it, just in case they're watching the show. You're going to figure it out, kid. You're going to figure it out.
But I think it's a difference in that's how we're going about really you. It's to, but we're not trying to just throw the easy. It's one thing if it's something that maybe they're really not seeing.
Right.
But if it's one of the obvious things, we're trying to help them come to that moment.
Exactly.
That's
the whole point.
It's not the tweak on the ice of like, oh, if you did this, it would do that for you. This is more of like one of the key, basic, foundational problem-solving skills. That's it. Thank you.
John, what's up? What's up? Finchie, what's up, brother? Mark, exactly. Thank you, brother. Exactly. Like, it's important for you to feel that process. Play for that feeling, that struggle I don't understand. Now, remember, when we talk about figuring it out, we're not saying that we didn't give initially, right? We gave the answer away initially. We said, here's what you're focusing on. We've been very clear on it. We've said it repetitively many, many a times, right? We've offered up, go watch the video again, go check everything out, right? So the information's there for you, it's recorded. You can always go back and go on a treasure hunt and figure it out for yourself, but it's there. We gave you the location, right? One of the things we always talk about is that we help out our players inside of the culture, right? Is we always zone in on, hey, we're gonna give you the general zip code of where you wanna live, right? This is the place where you wanna be, the general zip code. But the home that you're gonna buy, you're in charge of that. You're in charge of figuring out where's the most comfortable home. When you walk in, it's like, wow, this place feels really good. That's on you, right? That we can't decide, right? So something as simple as we talk about maintain your elbow out. Well, everybody's a little bit different. What location that is different from player to player. But you have to find that. The general zip code is the elbow out concept. But it's your job to go out and figure out, all right, well, where's it most comfortable for me, that I feel smoothest, efficient, comfortable? That's all on you as the player. And that's the point of becoming self-aware, right? Is that I pay attention to those things and I become aware of my own process. And I understand, all right, what do I know about myself? And you can start small. It doesn't have to be any kind of huge epiphany, aha moments. It just has to be, hey, you know what? I went to a camp, I went to a clinic. The coach said to try this out. I'm trying it out. I'm aware that it's still difficult. Maybe I should go talk to the coach and ask the coach, you know what? I'm trying this. What am I not getting it? What's going on? Or, wow, I tried that. Wow, that feels a lot better. I should try that again. Holy cow, I can't believe, wow, that's so much easier. Boom. Becoming self-aware. Getting that knowledge, figuring out how do I move, how do I think, what's best, how do I feel. These are all the different things that you can go down that rabbit hole, but become self-aware. Number one habit you start with, because from there, then we build into the other framework.
I would just say for parents, like it's almost like a little, it's like reverse role play of like when they're little and they ask you why 15,000 times. Well, why? Now it's your turn to flip it on them. Well,
Exactly.
why?
Right.
Why are you doing that? Why'd you do that? Why? Now you have the power of the why on them. So that's a little way to
Isn't it more fun to like just mess with your kids like that rather than getting so frustrated with them? Just turn it back on. Why? It's going to annoy them so badly, but it's good. Let them figure it out. Let them go through the
payback.
Exactly. Jim, what's up? What's up, buddy? Joe, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? Thanks for coming on, guys.
Number two.
So once I become self-aware, right, now I want to identify my strengths and weaknesses. Identify my strengths and weaknesses. Number one thing we see, with players all the time is we're always fascinated. Last night, all right, on our OMG call, turn around, same thing, right? With the group, go and ask all the players that are on it. All right, we had about 6-7 players on it. Ask them, all right, simple question. How many of you know your strengths, right? And know your strengths and you know exactly what your strengths are. Simple question. Go ahead, you can even ask your own kids this, right? What are your strengths?
Ask yourself.
Ask yourself, right? What are your strengths? This is what I saw through the screen. It goes about 3 of them, right? So about half went, yeah. And then the other 3 didn't even raise hands, whatever, just kind of, I don't know, right? Then I asked, well, how many of you know your strengths? Boom. Or, excuse me, thank you. How many of you know your weaknesses, right? How many of you know your weaknesses? Bam. Instantaneous, hands right up. And that fundamentally is what's wrong with the mindset of so many young players and adults, every one of us alike.
Focus on the negative.
We're all confident in our weaknesses and we're not confident in our strengths. And there's something completely backwards with that mindset.
Absolutely.
And that's the bottom line with it, right? Is that once you become self-aware, you now have to become confident and own the fact that I'm really good at this, but I'm not so good at this. Right. You have to own it, right? You have to be able to say, you know what? I'm pretty good at this. Yeah, no, I am. I'm pretty good at that. I own it. Yeah, and I stink at that. I can make fun of myself. It's the way it is. Right? It's just how it goes, right? Of where what you're good at, what you know where you're weak at, when you own that process and you say, you know what? This is what I know I'm legit at. You know what? This is what I'm pretty weak at. You now start to know, like in business, Ashley, right? Amen, thank you, right? You get more of what you focus on. In business, right? They always talk about the different rules of, you know what? Do what you're strong at and then hire other good people to do what you're weak at.
Exactly.
Right? Why? Because it's building up more strength around you, right? You're building a culture of more strength around you. You're more confident. We talk about the big C word, right? Not that one, right? Confidence. Confidence. Confidence comes from being straight up, right? From knowing. You have to know. That's why become self-aware is so important, because you have to know first. Not think I'm pretty good at that. No. I know I'm really good at that.
And
I know.
I want to say something. I feel like for a lot of people, and I'm one of them, that it's like you feel weird about owning your strengths.
Right.
And like it's weird, like it's like a humble brag or whatever. Like it's not about
well,
that.
because it's like right. What it's doing is it's creating those layers.
Everyone loves to like in misery, you know, come to go. Oh, like I'm the worst. No, I'm the worst. Oh my god! But if you're like, yo, I'm the best, it's like all of a sudden that guy's cocky, or like she's so full of herself. But like, I think we have to kind of stop with that stigma a little bit. Like everyone's good at something. Everybody more than one thing, and everyone's going to be not so good at other things.
Right,
It's
exactly.
just like normal for human beings to have that. So I think it's like a little bit of people like not wanting to almost brag. Like I think some people might know what they're good at, but they don't want to be like, yeah, I'm really good. I know.
Right.
Like it, but be okay with that. Be comfortable with that.
Right,
It took
exactly.
a long time for me to be comfortable with things that I'm good at.
Right, exactly.
And not wanting to come off boorish or whatever the word is, but
right, exactly.
and
Cocky,
fostering an
thing,
environment that it's good to be good at stuff and it's okay to own that.
Exactly, right? And then we've got Joseph says, if you're great at everything, work on what you like. Well, here's a reality. No such thing as being great at everything. Sorry. That's just a reality. We're not great at everything. That's just how there's no one that's like that, right? Case in point right now. Joseph, could you go fly a helicopter right now in this moment? Could you do that right now? Do you know that?
Watch it be like,
He's gonna be like, actually, I was in the freaking 15th platoon. And but the point is simple, right? Is that there's no such thing as being great at everything, or the other side of it is this, right? Let's say you are great at so many different things, right? Now you can be great at everything. The amount of pressure that it takes, do you want that on yourself to be great at everything and just do everything yourself? Or is it easier when you have other people around you helping out on all that type of stuff, right? That's the point of it on that side. But identifying strengths and weaknesses, that's where the process begins of true confidence, because when you identify something you're strong at, you know what you're good at, now you know the road and the path to go down.
I just want to point out, like, in a situation where, like, someone may appear they're good at everything, and I think you may find some players when they're younger, right? Maybe they're good at skating, they're good for that, right, for they're younger, but that will not translate as they move up the ranks in their sport.
Exactly.
And I think that's, so yeah, someone could be an all-around absolute stud of an athlete at
Love
like
that, great point.
10.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's
and
true.
then puberty's gonna kick in for like everybody, and it totally changes the game.
Exactly.
So it's important to realize that what you might be great at now may not be what you're great at later.
Great point.
So just wanted to throw that out.
Great point. That's why you're the boss.
That's why I'm here. Yeah.
Hey, Victoria, Rocky, what's up? What's up? Didn't forget you, brother. I know I owe you a message there on that side. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Here we go, Dan. As coaches,
Dan, here we go.
We always talk about identifying roles on teams. If all my players had no strengths, then it would be very hard to identify roles, and what would make for a very long and trying season with some less than favorable results. Absolutely.
Exactly. 100%.
And I think in the youth mindset, we forgot, right? Because I think we just compare kids to kids. Like, it's my kid compared to your kid. But everyone is you want a team with diversity. You don't want a team of all, like, the same people.
Exactly.
Because you can't put together your recipe as a coach to do what you want to do.
Right.
So that's why we're talking, and in life too. Like, a company can't go out and hire all the same people, because man, that'd be one boring company with no outside thought, no creativity. Like, you need to kind of put together different things. So I think I just wanted to I think
100%.
in the youth sport we think of just like, oh, go get the best, the best, the best. But what you think is the best, and what the coach's vision for what they want to put together for their goals are totally different. So that's why focusing on what your strengths are and knowing your weaknesses are important, because if it's not this season, at some point, developing those skill sets is going to make you an asset to a team and an organization.
100%.
So maybe your coach right now doesn't get it, but it's what you're naturally good at, and you're going to focus on it.
Right.
But the time will come when that pays off for you.
Exactly.
So that's my...
No, 100%. 100%. Spot on. Like, role identification, all that. That's what it comes down to with all of it, right? Is that you own it. Hey, this is what you're good at right now. Not saying that later on you don't become good at something else, right? How often we see there's players that end up in the NHL's fourth line players, and then somehow later on end up second line, first line. Sure. Who knows, right, as you move along.
Development.
Right?
But that all goes back to self-awareness.
Yeah.
It's not like you just become self-aware and then you never think about it anymore.
Exactly.
Becoming self-awareness is part of your everyday being. It's something you're always thinking of. So as long as you're self-aware, the rest of these fall into place.
Exactly. That's always rule number one. Well, that's what it always is, right? I'm aware of, then I become aware of my strengths and weaknesses, right? I identify them. Number 3, moving on, right? On that part, number 3, simplify my game. Simplify my game. It's amazing how often... Kiss, yeah.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, that's
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Now a teacher would probably get in trouble for saying...
Keep it simple, son.
Nice. I was a kid of simple, stupid.
Yeah. Keep it simple, silly, all that stuff.
Why
right?
do you guys say that?
Because it's just making it like in a fun way. What do you mean? Why can I say it like that? Why can I say it like that? Why? What's wrong with saying it like that? There's nothing wrong with saying it like that. So anyway.
I just like pushing buttons. That's why I'm here, folks.
Exactly. But keeping it simple, right? As an example, we had one of our players, right? Was at college age, okay? Was already written off. Oh, player's already gone, whatever, all this stuff, right? Simplify my game. What do we identify about this player? Started working with him a couple years ago, right? What do I identify about this player? Unbelievable shot. Terrible passer. Unbelievable shot, terrible passer. Could not pass with a lick. I just didn't have the awareness to be able to do it on. But, wow, what a shot. What do we do? What do we revamp? Guess what? We're now going to create your game all around. You're just going to shoot, literally from everywhere, because I'll be shocked if you don't have the best shot on the team. You really think so? Well, you've seen millions of shots literally through all the years, right? So turn around. What do we do with this kid? And turn around. He's in shock with it. A couple months into the process, he brings out one of his goalies that's on his team. Goalie comes out, is taking shots. We go over. We start having a conversation. We go, hey, of all the guys on the team, right, whose shot's legit, right? Who's got the best shot? And he goes, oh, hands down, he's got the heaviest shot. He's like, probably the other kid has the best shot in terms of most accurate, but you, hands down, have the heaviest, like, no doubt about it. Your shot's unreal. He's like, really? You think so? A couple weeks later, he's hanging out with the guys, right? They're all partying, college, whatever, all hanging out together, all that stuff.
College guys don't party.
Yeah, exactly. They start chirping him, and they start talking to him and telling him. Someone brings it up, the goalie brings it up, that we was at the session and we were doing stuff, and they were talking about how, he doesn't realize how good his shot is? All the boys turn around and start chirping and go, are you kidding me, man? Your shot's unreal. If I were you, I'd never pass the puck. I would shoot, blah, blah, blah. He comes back glowing. Like, you're never going to believe what happened to the boys, what they said, blah, 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 blah. Can you imagine that he didn't realize, all these years of playing, he did not realize how good his shot is?
Well, because everyone had him focusing on shooting.
Passing, you mean?
Passing, yes.
Passing. Doing other stuff, right? Because he was so zoned in on the other parts. So what do? Simplify his game and said, bam. We're going to now do is show you how to play the game where you're just going to give yourself opportunity. So the only passing he was doing was learning how to chip pucks, learning how to dump it in. The rest, he knew. His teammates knew, all that stuff. He knew. This is what's going to end up happening. He owned it. What happens, guys? That year, he doesn't play a single game, right, during that year. But he worked his butt off, following the 5 habits, by the way, revamping his game, zoning in, and what ends up happening this past season? Ends up putting up 10 goals at NCAA Division III level, where before, he couldn't even put up one single point in the first 2 years that he played. Figure that one out, right? Now, the irony of simplifying, which was fascinating, when we talk about becoming self-aware, identifying my strengths and weaknesses, simplifying my game, here's what was crazy of what happened. Actually, I'm going to save that for in a couple minutes here. We're going to save that for habit number 5.
Okay.
Right?
Any other suggestions, though, for a parent, maybe as they're working with their kids, on a way they could simplify their game? So that was one example. They have a good shot. Exactly. And focus more on the shot. But what?
So simplicity plus consistency equals results. If I've identified that I have a really good shot, let's say in a certain part of the zone, when I enter the zone, when I'm coming out of the corner, I've figured out, you know what? I'm really good at being able to cross out of the corner, come out, and get into open space. I'm really good at that. I've noticed that I do that a lot. Naturally, I found myself, right? Maybe I'm videoing myself when I play, and I just see, I keep doing this pattern over and over again. And I notice, you know what? I'm really good at getting into that position. That's what simplifying my game means, is that now that you've figured out that I'm really good at that one movement, how can I now maximize that one play that I've identified that I'm really good at after seeing my strengths and weaknesses? I've realized that I'm really good at pulling off this one shot. Now, simplify my game means, now I'm going to put my time into that. Now I'm going to put my time into that and realize that, you know what? This is a high percentage play. This is what matters most to my game. This is where I'm going to get the most bang for my buck. Is I know that I'm going to come out of this area a lot. So if I'm going to do that, then I'm going to simplify my training process and say, I'm going to do that over and over and over again and figure out different ways that I can stress myself, that I can challenge myself, but it's all going to come out of that main part, right? That main part.
I'll read Victoria's question. So Victoria wants to know, do you think it's more important for a younger player to recognize their weaknesses or focus on their strengths? Sometimes they're told what they are good at, but don't know what they could do better when you're younger. She's saying younger players.
Yeah, when you're younger, exactly. So starting off, right, with Mr. T. So basically, it's a great question, right? In the beginning, I'm all about the strengths, right, of zoning in on that. And here's why. When we talk about simplify my game, of why that's so important. Because the irony of what people don't realize is when I put my time into really directing and intentionally focusing on what it is that I'm strong at, number one, you become more confident at it, right? Confidence is the name of the game. Confidence creates more belief. I get more excited. I want to do it more. But what people don't realize is when I work on that one thing over and over again, I'm developing other parts of my game. So as an example, right now we're doing Dangle Fest, stick handling work. If I keep working on this one movement over and over again when I'm out there, right? Right? If I keep working on this one movement over and over again, right, as I move, right, does that mean I'm not developing another movement or another play that I'm doing in the game? So maybe I'm just developing that one movement to be able to come out wide when I enter the zone. Well, guess what? That one movement now might help me when I'm down low in the corners, right? That one movement might help me now when I'm breaking out of the zone. That one movement might help me now when I'm going to the neutral zone to take off. That one movement, because I put so much time into it, what ends up happening then, as you develop that one, and it becomes as natural as breathing. You just develop it and you focus on that string, and now you've made it awesome. And it's just like, wow, I'm legit at it. We don't know the offset of what happens elsewhere. And that's the point of focusing on at first with the strengths. Now, weaknesses, let's say you're really weak at skating and you want to be a good player. If you're really weak at skating, yes, you've got to go put in time then into your skating, because weakness is one of those non-negotiables if you want to play higher level. Skating. Skating, yeah. What did I say? Weakness, skating, yeah.
We both need
No, weakness. Yeah, skating. If you're weak at skating.
Yes, but you left out the word skating.
Okay. Skating, right? But skating. That's yes. If skating is a significant weakness, and you know that, and you need to work on your first step, right? Being able to take off, stride, agility, whatever it is. No, then yes, your edges. Yes, you definitely then want to go put your time into something that you know. Hey, this adds a lot of value, and skating is one of those.
And it's a foundational part of the game.
Exactly.
Like, if you don't know how to shoot at all, you need to, you have to learn the foundation of the game before you can focus on the other things. So if you're weak at one of the foundations, which I would assume skating is.
No, right, exactly. Yes. But if you're weak at, let's say, you're skating, you're shooting, you're singing, there's a lot of stuff that you're weak at that you want to, then obviously, number one, get better teachers, right, or coaches, because something's going on. If you're putting in the time and you're weak at it, that's the reality. Like, what I found most of the time with weaknesses is that one of the things we do with our players is that we help them understand, well, is there a way to change your position on how you're approaching that weakness? So as an example, we talk about it with our defensemen a lot, is where when I go into the corner, sometimes you're weak at hitting players and being physical in the corners. Maybe you just are weak at doing that. But you're good at getting your stick on puck and not allowing that player to get by you. So if you're weak at hitting, you have to go have an honest conversation with your coach and say, listen, it's something that I'm uncomfortable doing. I'm not very good at it, but I guarantee you that I'm going to get the puck away from that opponent every single time, no matter what. So I can adjust my weakness.
That sounds like it takes some awareness.
Well, exactly. And that's what
just bringing it all together.
Bingo, yeah. That's what becoming self-aware means. And that's the idea behind it. So, Victoria, does that kind of answer? Or do you have a more specific part of it, right? If you're dealing with Mr. T, is there something more you need clarity on it? But that's the concept of, yes, focus more on the strengths, because at the end of the day, you are developing other parts, and we don't know where that's going. Sure. But when I put my time into it, it's amazing what it does.
And I would definitely say, too, like, if you want further stuff, then ask it in the group, because are we going to...
Yeah, no, we're fine now. Jim, Stefan, what's up, buddy?
A great question from Victoria, because I think, it is a little different at a younger age. But we ready to move on? Number 4?
Number four. create my vision. Create my vision.
What does that mean, Coach?
Where am I going? Where am I going? Right? With what level do I want to play? Yeah, awesome, Tori. What level do I want to play? Am I looking to play at prep school varsity? All right? James, what's up, buddy? Right? Am I looking to play prep school? Am I looking to play junior hockey, USHL, right? Major, junior, whatever it is, highest levels, right? Am I looking to go play Division I college, Division III college? Am I looking to play in the NHL, right? What is it what level am I looking to achieve? Vision, right? Like we talked about last week, the non-negotiables. If I know in my mind I want to play at a certain level, well then guess what? We live in an awesome age right now. The best age ever of creating a vision. Because now you get to sit on your lovely computer or your lovely phone, you get to pick it up, and you get to see the habits, and you get to see the different parts of, well, what kind of performance do I have to have in order to do that, right? You get to see, come and watch our show over here, or other people that are out there influencing, right? There's tons of information. You go do the research of, what's it take to go be a Division I player? What's it take to go be an NHL player? What's it actually going to take for me to do that, right? So when I create my vision, in this case, for a lot of younger players, what am I creating? I'm creating my vision for what do I want to play? What do I want to experience next season? What kind of season do I want to have next year? You know what? This past season, I became self-aware. I realized that I got to shoot more. I realized I got to shoot more. I realized the coach kept wanting me to go to the net. I realized I got to play defensively better. Great. Now I got to create my vision in the off season right now, thinking about, all right, where am I going with this? Because next year I want to have a totally different experience. I don't want the coach to be on me as much. I want to be more. I want to be able to create more with the team. How can I go do that? What's my vision? What's my game plan of where am I going? What do I want to achieve? Where do I want to be?
And I think Jim has a great question that also kind of goes along with where I was going to...
Love it, thank you.
It kind of goes exactly what I was going to say. So, hey, Coach, how is a vision different than having a dream? Are they the same thing?
Bingo, right? There's actually a quote that I'm putting up here that Ovi put out, so I won't end up saying it, but it's funny. I was just literally working on this post. It's in my notes right now from yesterday, right? The dream and vision, all the same stuff. Imagination, all the same stuff. Yeah. They're just words. They're just labels that are in essence doing what? The same thing, right? Dreaming is the actual act of envisioning, seeing, right? And the more time I spend thinking about it, becoming self-aware, I'm aware, this is what I want, this is what I want. And the more I play out this movie in my mind, and the more that I see it, and the more that I do it, the more that I experience it, the more feedback I get, the better I get at it, right? The easier and easier the process gets. The more time I put in, the easier and easier it gets. So dreaming in essence is, yes, I'm thinking about it, but the big part with creating my vision, right, is this. There's a difference between dreaming and not doing anything versus dreaming and doing, right?
Yeah, what I was also going to point out, one of the things you said was that for younger players, you focused on next season. Like, I think that's important too, because dreams and visions are the same as far as like how you're thinking about it. But I think it's great, especially when they're younger. Like, it's first of all, it's your kid's vision and dream, not ours as parents. Exactly. As hard as that can be to sit on the sidelines of that, it's theirs, not ours. And that let's say the big dream is the NHL. Like so many little kids, I want to play in the NHL. The vision is, okay, well, step one is next season. Right. That's step one. You can't get to the NHL as a 10-year-old without playing at 11 years old. So, I think it's important to then you chunk it down and just because what's your dream today may not be a dream always. Exactly. But to me, and I guess it's just a difference of like dream and vision are similar in what they do, but to me the vision is the action. Exactly. Is the action you're going to put.
Well, where am I going, right? Where am I going? Right? As an example, right? Action is the key. Exactly. 100% action is huge, right? Because you could even be making mistakes galore with your actions, but you're experiencing, you're learning, you're doing, you're figuring it out. When you have the passion behind it and you want it, trust me when I tell you guys, you eventually figure it out. You just do. When you love it that much, when it's a dream, it's a passion, you want it, and you spend time in there, you figure it out. But one other thing I wanted to say, another analogy that we go through all the time, guys, right? Somebody on this call probably is going to go through it today. The good old update that happens on your phone. Time to update. The software program. Time to update, right? That's the part, right? And exactly, Chris, right? Several steps in the vision. There's going to be several updates. 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, 10.1.3, 10.1.8, 11.1.2.
We get the point.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That's at the end of the day, we see it every single time. What is that doing? The software is updating, right? The programs are updating to become more efficient. It's no different with us. As my dream is moving along, I'm updating. I'm having aha moments. I'm figuring things out. It's getting easier. It's getting better as time goes on. But those updates are where becoming self-aware in the process is so important in creating my vision. Is that as I keep moving along, I'm sharpening the sword. I'm getting better. I'm updating because now, how many things when we talk about mindset, it's so crazy how now, guys, I've been deep in the rabbit hole now, coming on a decade, and I'm going into like year 9 now, and there's so many things that I think about of how I once acted that I can't even remember it anymore. How many of you guys think about the first phones that came out, the first iPhones? Can you still remember what it was like using them?
Motorola, like the old.
Like,
phone.
can you still remember what it was like? Like it's like just a distant like, what was it like? You can remember like bits and pieces, but you've forgotten what it's like because I've got the updated version now. I'm an expert. I'm an expert at the 10X now. Bam.
But I want to point out action because I don't want to.
100%.
I really like. So Gary Vee talks about this a lot, and I think this is something that we can all relate to in our own lives as business people, as parents. There's people that talk the talk and there's people that walk the walk. And it's easy for anyone to say, I've got a dream. I'm going to play in the NHL one day. And then there's the reality of the action steps required to accomplish that.
Exactly.
Forget skill set even. There's just like, I want to go, you know what, I'm going to invent something. Or I thought of this cool idea. And then you get all sour when someone else actually did it. Well, all you did was talk about it. So it's really important to stress that it's the vision includes the action.
Right.
And I think that's probably a distinction between dream and vision.
Right, exactly.
The vision is what you're actually going to put action steps behind, and the dream is like, it's good. It's healthy too. It's always good to dream.
100%.
But making sure, like, because by taking action already puts you ahead of the pack.
Exactly.
Already puts you light years ahead of other people. Because a lot of people are just going to say, oh my God, I'm going to train so hard this summer. Oh, you're not going to recognize me when I come back next season, bro. And the only thing they did was grow some salad.
Boom! There it is. Dream is emotional, vision is mental. In essence, yeah, like the context, right, of what are we dreaming about? Is it, if it's at night when I'm sleeping in my bed, it's unconscious, for the most part, I can't really control it, right? It's just something that pops up, and I have these visions and all that type of stuff, right? It's just unconscious swirling around, and I think through it, but it's hard to control, right? Daydreaming during the day, I can be in there, and I've, in essence, like, I can just see things, and I'm aware, I'm awake of what's going on, right? So it's more in that context of the dream part. It's not so much of like, and I see where you're going with it, the emotional part. Definitely, if you wanted to put, if we wanted to put language or tie to it, it's a way of doing it. Dream definitely creates like that feeling of accomplishment of, man, this is going to feel awesome to do it. But I think vision, it goes hand in hand with it. Vision is also the same way of when you practice your vision, and you know this, right? Of like, when I'm practicing the vision, one of the things we do when we do visualization work with our players that I've evolved as time goes on is feel it, right? We talk about play for that feeling. It's not enough to just have a vision of what I'm doing, right? Okay, the physical, I need to do this. The mental, here's where I'm going. But then you actually have to feel it, your state of mind. What are you noticing? Does it feel good, confident, right? Because the frustration that kicks in when my vision doesn't happen, that's a real thing. And you have to be able to work through that and realize it's a process, it's what's going on, that's where we're going, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a big piece to that. Right? And again, we can go down, me and Jim have all these great conversations with it. He's awesome with it. So, but that's the idea of, just my take on it. I'd love to hear what your take on it as well on that part. And Karen, hello.
Hi, Karen.
Written action plan, Joseph, bingo, 100%. We do a ton of journaling, right? A ton of, again, figuring out what is it that you've got to put it down. You have to know where you're going, and you got to stick to it, 100%. The written action plan is what brings it to life.
But you can't write your action plan without
becoming
going
self-aware,
all the way back.
identifying my strengths and weaknesses, simplifying my game. Then you can create my vision. But you can't create a vision that's just like, I just want to go play in the NHL, and that's what I'm going to do, right? The secret. Just think your way and believe it, and it's going to happen. It's the same thing with players all the time, right? With players all the time, we deal all the time of, I want to play at the next level, or I just want to be confident in it. Okay, well, what do you need to be confident in? Right. Well, when I'm doing this, going up the ice with the puck. Okay, do you actually do the action of doing that? Well, no. Right, you can't become confident. You can't have anything until you actually know well, this is why I'm doing this is where I'm taking it. This is where I just naturally know my habits are. This is the stuff that I know I need to avoid. That's the roadmap that you're creating, right? We use the GPS analogy all the time. When I create my vision, that's what you're plugging into your GPS every day. Every day you're refining and you're plugging into your GPS. Because what does the GPS do? In the beginning, I'm traveling, right? In the beginning, I'm moving on my GPS, I'm driving. And the beauty of using GPS is eventually what happens, I don't need that GPS anymore. I don't understand why it's plugged in, but all right. Hopefully.
Probably because your cord is...
No, it looks like it was in there. Sorry, guys. But yeah, make sure we have a couple minutes here. But the GPS analogy, right, is really important as we go through.
All right. I'm moving you on.
Last one. Yep. Value my experience. All right? Value my experience.
Should I get another charger?
No, I don't know what's going on. Let's not go through.
I think it's this.
So, sorry guys on that part. So, value my experience. We talked about earlier, right? We talked about the steps. It takes steps, right? Chris brought that up, right? Great point on that side. Do you value the good, the bad, the ugly, the process, everything, right? You have to value all of it, right? When I make mistakes, it's awesome because it's teaching me. It's giving me the feedback of how not to make that mistake again. When things are good, it's awesome. It's teaching me, hey, when I do this, it's giving me a good result. Let me get to work. Let me see how often I can create that and keep doing that, right? These are the parts of I love it all. Trusting the process, all these things, right? That I value. I value the fact that the more time I put in, the more I'm leveling up, the better I'm going to get with it. So valuing my experience is that I'm putting the time into it, that I'm actually getting into it. Case in point, right? What we talked about that college player earlier. What ended up happening? The player loved it. I know I'm eventually going to get better. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the road. What happened with this player, guys? The irony of all the stuff of where we taught this player, just shoot the puck, forget about passing. What happened out of that? You know what? I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to value my experience. I know this is tough. It stinks that I haven't played a single game all year, but I'm still going to keep working at it. I'm still going to keep working hard, and I'm going to work on revamping my habits, sticking to simplicity. I'm going to turn around and shoot the puck. What happens, guys? And this was a huge whoa to me as a coach that he taught me after going through this experience. Comes away. Not only did his shot, was he using his shot all the time, and then he'd go turn around and score 10 goals in a season. Now he was able to start passing the puck. Boom. Now was able to actually pass the puck. It's unbelievable. Then now taught himself to actually be in those positions now of where was doing these habits consistently, right, using his shot, and now the game slowed down. Now feels the game so much that now it's like, oh my God, like now I'm getting it of when to move the puck and when not to. I can feel, I have that total sense that I've never had in my life before.
That reminds me of the Matrix.
Matrix.
Like when it slows down.
Boom.
And you can dodge bullets.
Boom. Right? Just like that. So that's the part that none of us know what's going to happen on the back end of the experience. You value everything, the stinky coaches along the way, the crazy parents along the way, the other people that are getting something that you want you didn't get along the way, the playing on an awesome team, the playing on a bad team, the struggles, right, the wins, all that stuff. You value all of it because you're learning from all of it. There's no such thing as failing. If you have a dream, you have a vision, you have all that stuff, you're learning from all of it. You're learning from all of it. So the more time I'm spending in there, the more I'm taking away, the easier stuff is getting. That's the beauty of valuing my experience, is that the more time you put in, the more you just keep on driving, the more you see, the more you keep refining your vision, the easier and easier it gets, because that experience that you're putting in, that time you're putting in, is getting you to a place that eventually you will become a master. Eventually you will become great at what you're doing. Eventually, things are going to happen that you never saw coming. Case in point, our story.
Sure. But I want to say too, though, that's why it's important. It's their vision. Because that's a miserable place to be if it's not what you really want. Mm-hmm. So I do want to say, like, it's, you know, it has to be that they want it, not that we want it for them. Because if they want it, then they're willing, you know, it adds to their value of their experience. If you're forcing someone into an experience they don't want.
Exactly.
You can't force, you're just, it's just going to always be like this.
Exactly.
So I just want to.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that's why, Mark, 100% with everything.
1,000%. These are the top 5 habits that you can incorporate in your life for success.
Work with soccer player, surfers, guys, wrestlers. This is applied. It works in anything, any business, anything, right? You just go down that list, right? Jim Wiggins, yeah, are there high performance habits in hockey? Of course, in any sport, right? High performance habit, going to the front of the net. Going to the front of the net. There was a great, who put it out? Sorry, brain fart right now. But somebody put out the first round of the playoffs, all the teams in the NHL. 20% of the goals came from redirecting or being in front of the net. 40% was between redirecting pucks or being in front of the net. Should you be investing your time into redirecting pucks and getting to the front of the net? Right? Those type of skills are high percentage habits. I know that if I want to be a goal scorer and I naturally don't have a great shot, we'll get to the front of the net and learn how to go through it. If Brendan Gallagher can score 30 goals in the NHL, anybody can do that if they have the vision, if they have the work ethic, if they have the action plan, and just put the time in and the heart and the desire. Anybody can then become a goal scorer if they want to get into that dirty area in front of the net and do that type of work.
But are you, like, to even get to working on high performance habits, you need to do this?
Exactly, 100%. Yeah, 100%. But that's an example of high performance habits in the defensive zone, right?
And that may work in your simplified my game.
Exactly.
Based on your strengths.
Exactly, right? These are different parts. Again, bring it back to becoming self-aware, identify my strengths and weaknesses, right? Simplify my game, create my vision, value my experience. This is inside of all of it. But it all starts with becoming self-aware of the next 4 habits. And just always coming back every single day. We practice it every single day. We're thinking about refining it with our players, right? With ourselves. It's just nonstop in the air. It doesn't go anywhere. Right here, right? We talk about it right on here. You can tell. Right? You guys can tell. How are we able to express it so clearly? Some of you guys have been following us for years. You can see the message is getting better. It's getting clearer. Why? Because we're valuing the experience and knowing, you know what? In the beginning, I wasn't so great at some of this stuff coming on here. It was like, oh, this is interesting. But now people are like, oh, okay, I'm getting a clearer idea of what it is that you're doing. In the beginning, people thought it was nuts. They had no clue what's going on. But it took me time, right, to experience it, figure it out.
Just kumbaya.
Exactly. We got tons of yo-yos that think, oh, it's just kumbaya. It's like they just have no idea. The people following get it. There's a much bigger picture here that's going on. It's not just kumbaya stuff. Right? These are real things that you can do, apply. Anybody can apply and do these habits and literally change and own their game. And why?
In your life.
In your life.
I mean, honestly, own your life. These are the things that, if you want to be happier and more fulfilled, regardless if it's in your sport, as a parent, what you do for work, in your relationships, all of this follows suit. You become self-aware and you identify, you follow the system of these habits, and you're telling yourself, but it's black and white on paper because you're taking notes of yourself, and it's there for you, and it makes decisions a lot easier.
Exactly.
And it's been life-changing for both of us.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely life skills transition for hockey, and we do the best. We do a great job, and kudos to you in these groups. Like, obviously, this is the parent trap. We're talking to you as adults and as grown-ups, but in our Dangle Fest and in our OMG groups, we're using the same words, but we're giving it to them in bite-sized pieces and helping them apply it to school with their friends, in their game, whatever it is.
Some players, guys, and even one of players are on here, right? Of parents. Some of the players, it takes years. It's taking years to develop some of these things. So, valuing my experience, that's what's happening is, again, like we talk about, you want it to feel like breathing. Some stuff takes years. But I always love the analogy of a bamboo tree, right? It takes 5 years. You water it every single day. Every single day. You know when it grows to 90 feet? 6 weeks. You don't see what's going on. Right? For 5 years, you cannot see what's going on in the ground. You're watering. Boom. Once it starts going, 90 feet in 6 weeks. It just sprouts up.
That's a good analogy.
And you can use it on anything.
Right.
Over the course of the season with the team. We're spending 3 months. We don't see anything. The fruits of our labor, right? Coach Dan will tell you. Everyone knows. And then boom, after 3 months, wow, they figure it out. Yeah. Boom, bamboo tree, right? Sprouts. It's the same thing with life. Of like, you've got to put the time in. Some things take a lot longer than others. But if you trust the process and you value my experience, you're going to get it. You're going to figure it out. It's going to be unreal.
Absolutely. So appreciative of you guys. Thank you. Because sometimes my kid learns from hearing this from someone other when I don't.
That's the idea, right? Why do coaches have jobs, right? If they listen to parents.
Yeah.
And again, right? Great parents, right? Like Ashley, like we get it, and we know. We're totally aware of that. We know when our kids get old enough, they're already started. They need to hear a different voice. It's how it goes.
I didn't listen to my parents.
Exactly. I know.
You certainly didn't listen to yours.
They told me a lot of good things.
But even for us sometimes, like I'll tell you something over and over and over again, and it's like nothing, and then you hear it from somebody else, and it just maybe they have just a different perspective or a different way of changing.
Because there's a lot of things you try to tell me, and it's hard. It's hard, right? It's hard to listen to your wife saying the same thing over.
It's hard to
and
be
over.
You. I just
and
want to
over.
be you in my next life. I want to be Coach Vinny in my next life. That's what I want. I want to be you in my next life.
Obviously, it means your spirit must have had to have gone through a lot of tough things through the years and years through the universe. Awesome.
Hope you guys had fun with us this week.
Yeah, thank you guys very much.
We will see you next Thursday.
Yeah, guys, share, like, love, whatever it is. Please put it out there any which way. Love it.
Every time you share it or like it or love it, it lets Zuckerberg and the wonderful Facebook community know that, this should be shown to more people. We're on our business page now, so they think, therefore, they don't want to give it to people. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
anything else to like our stuff?
I think we're good for this week.
Okay.
I'll bring announcements for next week.
Awesome. Yeah.
Good
Bring
stuff.
that some awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, thanks
well, thank you guys. Daddies, have a good
happy
Father's Day. Have at her. Make sure spend time with the kids. Obviously, we're going to the beach.
And I hope you get, I don't know, break from hockey or sport, whatever it is. But
if you love getting at hockey, great. Do what you love. Do what you love to do with the kids and get after it and just be around the kids.
Yeah.
Be around the kids.
Let them come in real early and jump on your head.
It goes by fast. It goes by. Rock, hey, what's up, brother? My man. All right.
So
that's the idea. Cool.
See you guys
awesome,
next
Joe.
week.
See you, buddy. See you
For
guys.
more, join us in Beyond the X's and O's. That's our free group. So if you ever have questions, and we're kind of having conversations like this all the time. So that's my plug.
Yeah.
I came up with
beautiful.
Yeah. And share. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a good one.
See you.